Naomi Suzanne from Naomi's Home Health. So, one topic that's super popular today is intermittent fasting. I wanted to go into a little bit about this because it's people think it's a health trend at the moment, and people use it to mostly to lose weight. And some people do have success with losing weight on intermittent fasting. Just drop in the comments if you do intermittent fasting. I'm not here to, put you down or anything like that. I want just to give you some ideas about what intermittent fasting can be doing for you or against you. So, to start with understanding intermittent fasting, I want to tell you a little about the liver. Now, if you have watched any of my liver videos in my thyroid group, you will know that the liver is a really powerful organ that processes many toxins that are going through your body. So, toxins like heavy metals, viruses, bacteria, pharmaceuticals, plastics, pesticides, everyday households, loads of different things. So what the liver does is it captures those toxins and holds on to them to stop them from floating around in your bloodstream and then going and hitting your organs. So basically, the liver will then decide when it's the right time to release those toxins and to detox them out of your body. So sometimes we've got so many floating around in our bloodstream that it's holding on to a lot of toxins, and the liver doesn't like to be pushed. It doesn't like to have adrenaline surging through it. It doesn't like to be flushed. It doesn't like to be detoxed really harshly. So sometimes intermittent fasting can actually affect the liver in that way. What happens with some people when they are fasting? If you drink water, you are breaking your fast. So you are fasting overnight. So if you haven't eaten since 7 o'clock the night before and then you're going all the way till 2 o'clock, you are actually fasting for a really long time. And your blood sugar levels start to go, hang on, I haven't eaten. Your blood, your liver starts to go, I haven't eaten for a really long time. Am I in a famine? Which, thinking about how your body was meant to be years and years ago, the body starts to think it's in a famine, it's not getting fed. So what it does, it draws on glucose stores from your liver, and those glucose, sometimes we don't have glucose stores in our liver. If you don't eat enough fruits, you've got a lot of toxicity in your liver, you can't draw on those glucose reserves, and what happens is your adrenals then go, hang on, we're in fight or flight at the moment, I'm a little stressed, and it releases some adrenaline to keep you going. So that when you are fasting and you get that release of adrenaline, and it makes you feel really good when you're fasting, that's why, because you get that release of adrenaline. Then what a lot of people who are fasting do later during the day, they have a little drop in energy, and they might live off a bit of coffee or matcha, which is full of caffeine, or things that are going to pep them up instead of grabbing an apple or something to restore the glucose reserves. Pomegranate is fantastic for restoring your glucose reserves because the glucose will stay reserved for a long time, and when your body draws on those glucose reserves, it's like, oh, excellent, I've got something there to feed off and to use for energy. It's looking for something to use for energy so the rest of your body can work and your liver can keep doing its job. So if you are really sick and you have a lot of toxins in your body, fasting can actually be really harsh on your liver and release a lot of these toxins. So you might feel really good for quite some time while you're doing fasting, but what's it doing to you in the long run? This is just something to be aware of. I'm not telling you to not fast. I'm not telling you to change what you're doing, but don't look at what you're doing for weight loss. A lot of people fast for wholly and solely for weight loss. And I want you to just consider what is happening to the rest of your body. It can actually, if you start to be shaky, if you start to not feel well, if you get tired in the afternoon, that's depleting your energy reserves. So Drop in the comments if it makes any sense to you. Like, give me a love heart, anything that makes sense to you. I know I did do intermittent fasting years ago, and this was when I was still quite unwell, and I got really shaky. I did not feel well at all, and I knew then, okay, this is not good for me. But it happened immediately for me. I didn't feel great. So that wasn't something for me. But sometimes if you're unwell, you need to eat small amounts during the day. And if you're breaking your fast by having water, then your body's like, okay, I'm having something here, but there's no glucose in it. I'm not restoring my energy levels. What's going on? I need something. So this is why it's really good in the morning to start your day with fruit, because it's restoring that energy reserves that you have in your liver that you depleted overnight, that you depleted yesterday, and particularly overnight. So basically, be mindful of nutrition. And I do not like the term diet. I do not use it. It's nutrition for me. And if you are not eating, where's the nourishment? Where are you getting your nutrition? Sometimes, people are, what are you eating throughout the day? If you're intermittent fasting, what are you eating throughout the day? Like, I know a big fad is the keto diet, and I've done that myself. I've done them all, trust me. I like to understand everything. So I do all these things to understand how they work. But I didn't do a lot of the keto diets that a lot of people do, with heavy loaded creams and bacon and processed food. I did a very clean version of keto. And if that's what makes you feel great, do that, but don't do the dirty version. Do it as clean as possible. I don't like the fact that keto actually does leave out a lot of fruits and vegetables. Do low carb, but don't take anything out. So when you are, a lot of people who are intermittent fasting, you got to look at what they're eating when they do eat. What is it? Is the first thing that they eat is bacon and eggs? You're eating fat. Your body's going, oh my gosh, so your liver has to work a little bit harder to detox fat and to use fat in the body. So we want to actually start, if we do fast, we want to start with glucose, some form of fruit. And that's why we should be having fruit a couple of times a day to build up those glucose reserves. So when we do need energy, it draws on that from the liver. It's not the liver's not releasing too many toxins into our bloodstream. It's not flooding the bloodstream with, antibiotics that it held on to for 6 months or 12 months. It can be years that your liver holds on to these things. And when we keep overburdening it with a lot of toxins and a lot of different things, and we get a virus and we get bacteria. A virus doesn't just leave your body when the symptoms go away. A virus will stay in your liver. So if you've had a virus, you need to drive it out by removing certain foods and adding foods that are going to help drive it out. That's a video for another day. But these things will stay in your liver. This is where we're getting symptoms from. This is where we're getting lack of sleep, lack of energy, digestive issues, all of those things, brain fog, poor memory, focus, concentration. These things are in our body. You can be born with some toxins in your body from taking it on through your DNA. So we want to work on these things from day one. But as we get older, we're going to take on more, obviously. So we want to be mindful as best we can every single day as we go up. So I just wanted to give you a little idea about what can happen to your body when you are intermittent fasting. And some forms of fasting can be okay, but for a couple of days. No long-term water fasts, all of these things, because what is happening is you're pushing your adrenaline out, and that's why you're feeling good on them. But what's going to happen down the track? Surges of adrenaline, and it affects your adrenal health. Adrenal health then affects your stress levels. Stress levels affect your adrenal health. it's a vicious cycle. It affects your breathing, it affects your liver function, it affects all the organs in your body. So sometimes we need to look at not just nutrition, or we shouldn't be looking at just weight loss when we're looking at health. We should be looking at the whole picture, what it's doing to our body, how we are building up our energy reserves, and how we are going to be able to have that long-term wellness. That's what my job is. I want to make sure that you have long-term wellness, not just sitting like just for today or just for tomorrow or just for the weight loss. Like a lot of people go into health as they call it for weight loss, and they're not thinking about the long-term wellness of what is going on in their body. So it's something to think about. If you have any questions, message me, pop them in the comments. If you don't agree, that's fine. You do not have to get over the top with it. I know some people, that are on these different paths get quite defensive about what it is, but sometimes I think you have to admit that you could be getting it wrong. I had to admit I was getting it wrong different times. I had to be like, okay, I think this isn't right for me. Or I did some research and realized, well, maybe the person that's telling me this is doing it because they know a lot more than I do. So I had to actually really admit when I wasn't doing the right thing for my body. And when you do that, you see a lot of changes. You will notice that, okay, and it's a release. It's a stress release as well, to admit when you're not doing the right thing for your body. Or, if you're still going along after a couple of years of your health journey and things aren't changing, maybe it's you who needs to change. So look into that. But I have a few appointments available for consultations next week. So if you are ready to do something about your health and for that long-term wellness, this is what we're looking at here. I'm looking at creating new habits by improving some of the ones that you have for long-term wellness. That's what it is. And these will just become habits where you will just do it all the time. It's not difficult. That is what I do for people, because I'm not here to put you on a weight loss program and go, here you go, here's a program, off you go, see you later. That's not what we do. We want to work on your body as a whole. That's why it's called holistic health. It's that whole body, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual health. If you are on Instagram over here, you can find the link to book in with me in my bio. And if not, if you're on Facebook, Naomi's Home Health or Thyroid, Hormone and Support. Thyroid and hormone support. Geez, it's a bit late in the afternoon, isn't it? Friday. I'm getting confused. Rochelle will put the link in the comments for you. But have a great weekend. Think about some of the things I've said and drop in the comments what you think.